Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Give me 10 minutes and I promise, really promise, you'll believe in yourself again. I know that sounds bold, maybe even unrealistic, but stay with me. Because I'm not asking you to change your whole life in the next few minutes. I'm asking you to remember something that you've forgotten, something that's still alive inside you, whether you feel it right now or not. I want to speak to the part of you that's tired, the part that's doubting. Maybe you've been trying your best and it still hasn't been enough. You've shown up, worked hard, given your time, your energy, maybe even your heart, and still things feel stuck. You're not alone, not by a long shot, because behind every smile you see on the street, in every boardroom, every classroom, every home, there's someone who's struggled with the same silent question, am I really good enough? You know, we grow up thinking confidence is loud, always certain, always fearless, but real belief in yourself, it's often quiet. It's waking up and facing the day when your mind is screaming that you're not ready. It's showing up to a job interview after being rejected 10 times. It's making dinner for your kids when your heart is heavy. It's choosing not to give up when no one would blame you if you did. Let me ask you this, do you remember a time when you thought you couldn't get through something, but you did? Maybe it was a breakup that gutted you, a job loss that made you question your worth. Maybe it was just waking up on a day when it hurt to breathe. But you did. You made it through. You're here, listening, alive. That matters more than you give yourself credit for. I don't need to know your whole story to tell you this truth. You've already proven you're strong. You've already survived days you weren't sure you could. That resilience, that's not something you're waiting to find. It's something you've already lived. You don't need to become someone else to be enough. You just need to remember who you are when no one's watching. The quiet moments where you chose to keep going. That's where your belief lives. And yeah, maybe you've forgotten how to feel proud of yourself. Maybe you've compared yourself to people who seem like they have it all figured out. But let me remind you, comparison is a thief. It steals joy. It hides your truth. No one else has lived your path. No one else has had to fight your battles, so why let their journey diminish yours? If you hear nothing else today, hear this. You don't need to be fearless to move forward. You just need to remember that you've done hard things before, and you can do them again. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be real, to try, to fall, to get back up. And you have, and you will. And that, right there, is proof you're still worth believing in. Let's stay here together for just a few more minutes, because now that you're listening, really listening, I want to remind you of something even more important. Your strength isn't in question. It's already proven. Think back, just for a moment, not to the highlight reel, not to your best day, but to the day that nearly broke you. The one where you thought, I can't do this, I'm done. Maybe no one saw it. Maybe you didn't tell anyone, but you made it through that day. You did, and I know you remember how heavy it was, how real the fear or the pain felt, but somehow, something inside you pushed forward anyway. We don't give ourselves enough credit for the quiet moments of survival. We look for big wins, applause, trophies, but the most powerful proof of who you are is in those ordinary, invisible victories. The day you answered the phone when all you wanted to do was disappear. The moment you chose to forgive someone who didn't say sorry. The time you got out of bed even though your heart was shattered. These aren't just stories, they're your story, and your story is strength. You've already done what you once thought you couldn't. Think about that. You've felt fear, confusion, rejection, heartbreak, and yet here you are, still standing. Still listening, still trying. That doesn't come from weakness, that comes from grit. That comes from belief, even if it was quiet, even if it came in whispers. Now, I know it's easy to forget that when you're surrounded by pressure to be more, do more, look better, climb higher. It's easy to see where you fell short and forget how far you've come. That voice inside that tells you you're not enough, that's not the truth. That's fear. Fear has a funny way of disguising itself as reason. It tells you to stop before you start. It whispers, don't try, you'll just fail again. But let me tell you something, fear is loudest right before you grow, and failure, that's not a flaw in your story. That's a necessary chapter. The truth is, nobody who has ever done something meaningful got there without falling. No one. Failure is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the evidence that you tried. It's where you learn what doesn't work so you can discover what does, and the most successful, grounded, fulfilled people you admire, they didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there by walking through it again and again and refusing to let it define them. You are not broken because you've failed. You are not lost because you've made mistakes. You are not weak because you've doubted. You're human, and the fact that you're still here, that you're still searching for belief, means you haven't given up yet, and that alone makes you unstoppable. So the next time that voice in your head tells you you're not doing enough, not being enough, not becoming enough, pause, take a breath, and remember, you've already climbed mountains you never thought you could. You've already carried weight that would have crushed someone else. And even now, in this very moment, you're showing up for yourself. That's what believing in yourself really looks like. And the truth is, you already have everything you need to begin again. Let's go deeper now, because what I'm about to say might stir something in you, and maybe, just maybe, that's what you need right now. I want you to remember something you used to dream about. Something you wanted so badly it almost hurt. Maybe it was a career you were afraid to chase, or a place you always wanted to travel to, or simply a version of yourself you were once so excited to become. That spark, that desire, it wasn't random. It came from a place inside you that knows who you really are, even when you've forgotten. But life happens, we compromise, we adapt, we tell ourselves not now, maybe later. And somewhere along the way, those dreams, the ones that made you feel alive, they get buried under responsibilities, bills, losses, disappointments. You start saying things like, I'm too old, or it's too late, or that was just a silly idea I had once. But you didn't imagine those dreams for nothing. They came from something real, something true, and that part of you, it's not gone, it's just quiet, dormant, like embers under ash, still burning, waiting. It's not about chasing a fantasy. It's about remembering that you're allowed to want more. You're allowed to feel excited again. You're allowed to become someone new while still honoring everything you've been. And if right now you're hearing a little voice in your head saying, yeah, but not me, I'm not special, I've messed up too many times, then I want you to listen even more closely. That voice, that's not truth. That's the critic in your head, and it's been there for a while, hasn't it? You know the one that says you always fail, or you're not smart enough, or no one's really paying attention, so why try? That inner critic has been shaping how you see yourself for years. And here's the wild part. It doesn't speak facts. It speaks fear, and it learned to speak that way to protect you, maybe when you were young, maybe after you were hurt. But what once tried to protect you is now holding you back. It's time to challenge that voice, not with fake positivity or shouting over it, but with quiet, steady truth. You are not your doubts, you are not your lowest moment, you are not your mistakes. You are the one who stood back up, the one who kept trying, the one who, despite everything, still shows up, even if your hands shake, even if your heart is tired. You have more control than you think. You don't have to wait for confidence to arrive. You can choose to believe in yourself before you feel ready. That's what courage really is, acting in the face of doubt, not the absence of it. Every time you choose to show up for yourself, when it's easier to give up, that's belief in motion. You don't need to silence the inner critic completely to move forward. You just need to stop letting it drive the car. You're the one in charge now, and you're far more capable than you've allowed yourself to believe. Because that dream you once had, that fire inside you, it's not gone, it's waiting, and so is your next chapter. So now that we've remembered your strength, now that we've uncovered your resilience and quieted that critical voice just long enough for you to breathe, you might be asking, okay, but what do I actually do now? And I want to keep this simple. This isn't about overhauling your whole life or setting a 5-year plan. No, this is about a decision, a small one, one that you get to make starting today, because belief in yourself isn't some magical switch that flips on when life finally gets easier. It's not something reserved for special people. It's not reserved for the confident, the loud, or the perfectly polished. It's a choice, a practice, and you can make that choice right now, even if your hands are shaking. Even if your voice is quiet, even if the doubt is still whispering in the background, you don't wait for belief to show up. You build it, and you build it by taking just one action, one move, however small, that says, I am worth showing up for. Maybe that's sending the email you've been scared to send. Maybe it's going for that walk even when you don't feel motivated. Maybe it's saying no for the first time or saying yes when your fear says to run. The action doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours, and the moment you do that, when you take one small step that honors your worth, you start to shift something inside. You start to teach yourself, I don't have to feel ready to begin. I just have to begin. And every time you do it, every time you show up, you're writing a new narrative. You're building evidence for yourself that says, I am not who I was. I'm becoming something new. This isn't about perfection. It never was. This is about showing up messy, uncertain, maybe even scared, but still showing up. That's belief in motion. That's courage. That's power. Because let's be honest, life is going to knock you down again. There will be more hard days, more moments of doubt, but now you know what to do, you know what's inside you, you know that you've stood up before and you will again, and the more you practice choosing belief, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you wake up and realize that belief isn't something you're trying to find anymore, it's something you've become. So if no one's told you this in a while, let me be the one. I believe in you. But more importantly, I want you to believe in you, not because of what you've achieved, but because of who you are and who you're still becoming. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to take one step forward and keep going. That's enough. That's always been enough. Thank you.